About a year ago, I moved into this quiet little neighborhood. You know the kind. Every lawn is manicured like a golf course, every mailbox is the same exact model, and people wave just enough to pretend they're friendly. But you know they're watching. I was renting the place while working remotely. It was a short-term thing, so I wasn't trying to make waves. No loud music, no wild parties, no pets. I'm a pretty low-maintenance neighbor, and honestly, I liked the peace, until she arrived in my life. Karen. Not her real name, obviously, but if you've ever dealt with a homeowners association, you know exactly who I'm talking about. Clipboard, sunglasses, that fake smile that stretches but never reaches her eyes. She lived 2 houses down and treated the HOA like it was her personal kingdom. She showed up at my place 3 days after I moved in, offering me a welcome packet. It had 20 pages of rules and a magnet with the HOA's emergency contact number, which was just her cell phone. I thanked her politely, closed the door, and honestly forgot about her. For a while, everything was fine. I worked from home, took walks in the evening, didn't talk to anyone, but then weird things started happening. First, I found a note taped to my trash bin. Please bring your trash in within 45 minutes of pickup. This is a violation. 45 minutes? Seriously? Then, she complained about my porch light being too yellow, not too bright, just too yellow. I started to realize Karen had way too much time on her hands, but things really escalated one morning. It was around 8 a.m. I was on my porch, sipping coffee, just enjoying the morning air. That's when Karen power walks up my path like she owns the place. Phone in one hand, folder in the other. No hello, no smile. She goes, "You're in violation of Section 8B. I raised an eyebrow. "Good morning to you too. What's Section 8B? She opens the folder like it's a court summons and says, "Unregistered pets. You've been hiding a dog on your property. That's a $200 fine and potential legal action." I stared at her for a second. Then I laughed, like genuinely burst out laughing. "Karen, I don't own a dog." She stiffened. "Then what was that brown animal I saw in your backyard at 11:43 p.m. last night?" Now, I had seen a stray dog wandering through the neighborhood once or twice, but I never fed it, never pet it, definitely didn't name it. "Still," I told her, "that's probably a stray. I have no idea whose it is." Karen's eyes narrowed like I'd just confessed to smuggling dogs across state lines. "You'll be hearing from us," she said, and stormed off. 2 days later, bam, I get served. I thought it was a prank. But no. She filed a formal HOA violation and a small claims lawsuit, accusing me of keeping an unauthorized pet and disturbing community order. And the kicker? She submitted evidence, photos, motion detector clips, one grainy image of a brown blur in my backyard. It looked more like a raccoon doing parkour than a dog. Now I could have ignored it, but I was too entertained. So I got to work. I made a little presentation for the next HOA meeting. I printed her blurry dog photo and made a poster board comparing it to stock images of a coyote, a possum, and even Bigfoot. At the meeting, I stood up and said, "Folks, let's play guess." "That animal!" People started chuckling. Even one of the board members had to turn away to hide his smile. But Karen? Oh no. She was fuming. She stood up, red in the face, shouting about disrespect, mockery, and how I was undermining the sanctity of the HOA. She slammed her clipboard on the table and stormed out, again. A few minutes later, while we were still laughing and talking about neighborhood BBQ plans, she came back, with her phone in hand, and dialed the police. "Right there. I'd like to report a hostile neighbor harboring an unlicensed animal and threatening HOA security," she said. Mind you, I was standing next to a veggie tray and wearing khakis, not exactly the image of danger. About 30 minutes. Later, the cops showed up. 2 officers. Super professional. One of them asked if I had a dog. I said nope. But I do have a nosy neighbor who's convinced I adopted a raccoon." They laughed. Actually laughed. They looked around the yard. No dog toys, no leash, no bowls, no barking. They didn't even ask to come inside. They just rolled their eyes and left. Karen, of course, was watching from her porch with binoculars. I waved. The lawsuit? Dismissed. Her complaint? Thrown out. And a few weeks later, the HOA quietly sent her a warning for abusing the reporting process. But here's the best part. A week after the whole ordeal, I bought a giant stuffed dog, like comically huge, 3 feet tall, and set it on a leash on my porch every Sunday morning. I even gave it a name tag, Karen's Ghost. Now, whenever someone sees a dog in the neighborhood, they say, "Better hide it, Karen's on patrol." And me? Still pet-free, still HOA compliant, still undefeated. So if you believe in standing your ground, if you've ever dealt with people who tried to push you off your own path, or if you just love real stories that speak the truth, then this is the place for you. Hit that subscribe button and join us here at QZ Stories, where every story matters and every voice gets heard.